The sale price is $180,000 on problem number 28, page 303, right? And it's an 85% loan to value. Now, if you were really sneaky, you were looking to see if they gave you an appraised value, but since they didn't, let's just use the sale price. We'll assume that this house appraised. 180,000 times 85%. And what does that number come to? 153. 153. And then label it if you need to. 153 is now your loan amount. Perfect. A lot of the stuff we do in chapter 13 and 14 is going to be based on your loan amount. Okay, that's helpful, but we still don't know what our principal and interest is. Now, given the information that we have, the amortization factor will help, won't it? Using an amortization chart, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the loan amount, $153,000. The amortization chart is based on your monthly payment per what? $1,000 borrowed, so I'm going to divide by 1,000. And again, don't look for anything special about that number. There are 153,000s in 153,000. And each one of them cost me how much per month? 6.65? And that was a given, and we have to give you the ability to know this number. 153 times 6.65 equals how much? $1,017.45. Thank you. Sorry about that. Now, every time you're doing it for right now, ask yourself, what did I just learn? 1,017.45 is your what? That is your PI. That is your PI. The only thing that the amortization chart can help you solve is principal and interest. But the question says, what is your PI? TI. So now I have to go back and I look and say, well, the taxes were $996. The insurance was $480. Which looks like it was going to be $1,476, but that's annual, correct? So let's divide that by 12. How much does that come to? $123 a month. $123 a month of TI. Finally, after 18 steps, $1,017.45 PI plus 123 TI equals 1,140.45. 1,140.45 is your PI TI. Somebody check that number, make sure I wrote it down correctly. Okay. Again, the math itself, not that difficult, but look at those steps. Just to get one answer. Look at all those steps that you have to do. As you're doing this the first few times, I would recommend, notice how I've labeled mine to remind myself, what did I find? Loan amount, PI, TI, PI, TI. Okay, that way when you're going back and studying, you can kind of see what we were doing, okay? I'm sorry, go ahead. You're fine, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, yeah, I did the same initially, but then it must be book mistake, because they do not print this as a right answer. They print without.
C is the correct answer.
They say D.
You may have looked at the wrong key in the book.
I'm so.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, when you're checking yourself, make sure you're using the right key, you look at the right number. But I will add this to that conversation. Notice what one of the other possible answers was. Did you notice that? And you remember I told you on math problems, one of the ways we trick you is we'll throw red herrings in there, too much information, but the other way is we know the most logical mistake you're going to make, and that would be one of your potential answers. Okay? How do you feel about number 28? And when I say how do you feel, do you have steps that you can repeat when you see this up? I gotta be honest with you, I would do these exact same 3 tonight for homework. Okay, they're that valuable in getting you prepared. Without even a segue, I'm going to go ahead and go into number 29. I am going to erase everything here, even though I know some of that information is probably going to be pertinent on this problem. You guys may have to remind me. Problem number 29. And don't forget the power of reading a question as well. On a math question, read it all the way through one time, just so you simply know what you're looking for. And number 29, what will be the total amount of interest paid over the life of a loan if the payments are made just for if the payments are made for the full 30-year term? Okay, interest over the life of a loan. So here's what I need. I need the P&I payment, and I need to know how many times it was made. That's what I need. Do we know what the P&I payment is?
Yes.
$1,017.45. Don't grab the wrong number from above. Make sure you grab the PI. Do we know how many times you're going to make that payment? 360. Why 360? Because it's a 30-year loan. Because it is a 30-year loan. 1,017.45 times 360. Danielle, will you please tell me what that number is? 366,282, which is good, but that's your total pay, right? That's your total including principal and interest. The question asks, what is your interest over the life of the loan? And by the way, that's always what the question is going to be. What's your interest over the life of the loan? Well, I paid $366,282 in total PI. And do you remember what your starting PI was? Your starting principal was? 153. It didn't change. Your original principal was 153. The difference between those is going to be 213,282. You get that answer, and then you look at the answers, and you hope that's one of them.
Yeah.
I hope it is. I can't see it, but I'll pretend like it is. B? Is that what B says? Okay. 213,282 is the interest paid over the life of the loan. Margaret, you're not smiling. Did you get it? Then smile a little bit. Smile through the pain. Heather, did you get it?
No, you're gonna have to edit this out of something, probably. I still don't, this is probably a dumb question, but I still don't understand how we got 360.
300, this number right here?
Yeah,
Okay. It's a 30-year loan.
right,
And how often do you make your payments? Every
month.
month. How many months are there in a year?
Yeah.
12 months times 30 years is 360.
Okay,
Okay?
okay,
You're saying you get it, but I'm going to make sure.
okay.
What if I told you it was a 20-year loan? Would that number have been different?
12 months times 20.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up. Sometimes I assume that you know where a number comes from, and I didn't think about it. So that's what it is, 30-year term. Good question. Other questions or comments over interest over the life of the loan? Yes.
So the reason why I got that answer wrong is because I was trying to follow your previous example where you had like the 6% for the 30-year loan.
Okay.
Was that because that 6% was the amortization factor?
Actually, in this problem right here, the interest rate nor the factor is going to help you. Okay? So let me ask you this. Did you have this number correct? The P&I payment of $1,017.45? Okay, because all this is predicated on having that. Do you understand the logic of this being a question that Heather asked right at the 360? So you paid a total of $366,282, which includes principal and interest. At that point, all you do is subtract out your original principal.
Right.
So notice in there, I didn't use the interest rate at all.
So you have to use the 7%.
That's right. And that's what's tricky about this question. I'm telling you interest over the life of the loan. I'm giving you the interest rate just to screw with you. Okay? But see, that's one. Once you know the trick, you can take that one out, all right? The math on that fairly straightforward, but we know that you're going to be tempted to use that interest rate. Okay? Good pickup. Good pickup. Other questions or comments on that one? Okay? I do want you to get that one right, and the reason I want you to get that one right is one, The math on it, not extraordinarily difficult, but secondly, they always test you on this. Okay, very popular test question. And then finally, problem number 30. Problem number 30, taking all the information that we know, what will be the principal amount owed after the first monthly payment has been made? So here's what we know in number 30. Do we know what the loan amount was?
Yes.
153. So there's our starting point. This one is a little bit tougher because on this one, which of those numbers do you need? Do you need the factor or do you need the interest rate? The interest rate. The reason I know that, and the reason you will come to know that, is because I know I'm getting ready to use the interest formula to solve this. And if I'm solving using the interest formula, I know the two things I need are the principal balance and the rate. Okay? So don't let that confuse you. Okay? The rate was 7%, is that correct? All right? Now, here's what mine looks like. You may do yours a little bit different. You can certainly draw out the T-bar if you want to. But normally what I do when I'm doing them quickly to save a little bit of room, 153 principal times 7% rate, that gives me annual interest, right? Would you agree that principal times rate gives me annual interest? And since I'm looking for monthly interest, I'm going to divide by 12. So somebody help me with that calculation. 153 times 7% divided by 12. 892.50. And here comes an interesting question I would like you to ask yourself. 892.50 is what? That's the interest. You know how I know it's interest? Because I use the interest formula. That's what I was solving for, okay? And of course, in this case, it's monthly interest because I divided by 12. So now, I know what my PI payment was $1,017.45, which we learned from the other problems, of which $892.50 went to interest, and of course the rule is whatever did not go to interest went to principal reduction. So $1,017.45 minus $892.50 is $124.95. $124.95 principal paid. Make notes to yourself if you need to. And if I started at 153 and paid down 124.95, we finally end up at the solution, which is 875.05. Again, the math itself is not hard, but wow, look at this, look at those number of steps. And then also you got to remember that interest formula. That interest formula will become your friend over the next 2 weeks. You have to know it. Okay? Cut that off.